had to remain alone in my life. Ever since I was born in a really backward family where there wasn't any education, there wasn't any example of any achievements in life. And this was for the first 10 years of my life. I grew up in an Italian area, which is rural, and being rural southern Italy, there wasn't really any inspiration. There wasn't much to do. The only thing that I did growing up was mostly going out on my bike or, around the area that I lived and, watch television. And that's pretty much it. And then, about 25 years ago, my father was offered a job to, in the UK to work in an Italian themed restaurant here. And pretty much my mother was like, just go because ultimately, you're not really doing anything here. You're not finding consistent work. You're working the odd job here and there that doesn't last very long. So he came here, and ultimately things didn't really improve here. And he was eventually my mother decided to join him here because she was left with us in Italy, and she didn't really have anything going there herself. She was just a stay-at-home woman. But when she came here, pretty much the same thing happened. She just stayed at home, and was the man on the house, the husband worked, but it didn't last very long because then he started to complain about health problems, first physical, and then after a few years also mental problems, depression, lack of motivation. So he pretty much became a stay-at-home man. He would just go out shopping and basically living off welfare, watching television and just cooking, shopping, watching television. That was it, and she was just there to collaborate and support him through that. I just felt really isolated here, very lonely, and almost abandoned with these people who didn't really have any cultural social affiliation to this new country, which is the UK. So over time, it just became very depressing and very demoralizing, and I started to develop you know really hopeless feelings in a way about my life in this place. So because when I went to school, I realized the culture here is very different. It's mostly superficially consumeristic from just a hedonistic point of view. There's no religion here. It's mostly just atheist society. So they don't really celebrate. If they celebrate things, they celebrate it more from a fun perspective rather than just because it's something holy and important. So coming to live in a country like this, it can feel very alienating living in a culture that doesn't really have any real values based on religion or cultural or culture. It's just here everything goes as long as there's a saying here, as long as it doesn't harm anyone, you can do as you please. And that's really what British society is about. You can be who you want to be here and do what you like to do, even if it's you know destructive. As long as it's legal, you can do it. If you want to just spend a whole day in a pub drinking beer, that's up to you. Provided you can afford it. But a lot of people here are on welfare. In this country, there's 10 million people economically inactive, which means they are not working, no seeking work, between 16 to 64 years old. So it's not a country that's exactly thriving in terms of people, having a great life and uh, being successful. For the most part, most people here are just live day by day and don't really contribute a lot of. They don't really have a lot going or contribute a lot of meaningful, positive social contribution. So it's really, really demoralizing living here. Obviously, I live in Wales, which is statistically one of the weakest areas, one of the weakest performing areas of the British economy. But obviously, it's not by far the worst, but it's up there amongst the lowest, amongst the low performers of this, country. So it's not the best place if you're seeking success. It's probably not the best place. Career success is probably not the best place to live because unless you work in the public sector Private sector opportunities are very, very scarce here because there's not a lot of investment go in terms of big companies opening offices here, and it's just it's an overlooked area of the country, and there's even though they got beaches here, they don't really attract a lot of tourism because they don't have the hotel, and obviously the infrastructure is important, and it's mostly people who come here maybe on day trips from other either other areas of Wales or just other places of the UK, but it doesn't attract high net worth or sophisticated travelers. It's mostly just people who want a day at the beach or overlooking the beach. But yeah, I spent 25 years of my life here. I didn't develop any friendships. I didn't develop any happiness. Well, I didn't have any happiness here, and now I find myself like a loner, somebody who just wakes up and lives life. Well, mostly I spend my life on a computer, just read the news or try to play some online games, or watch some YouTube. But there's nothing going on in my life that I feel passionate or fulfilled or rewarded by. It's very, very, very grim. And I have to say that it almost feels like I'm in a void here. That there's no real purpose to my life anymore here except just surviving, just going on. Because I don't have, now I have to have people who are unwell, sick, and old. Because I remain with my parents because I couldn't find consistent work. Because, like I said, I struggled to find good opportunities in this country. And I'm sure many people in this, are in exactly the same place. But obviously, I wasn't born here. I don't have, I don't have anything here. I don't have family. I don't have anything that really keeps me with this place, except that the fact that I lived here for so long now that it's pretty much it feels like home, even though I don't have any social connections with anybody. And now for me, it's just become it's like a survival every day. Just survive, try to just go on. But there's no there's nobody that I can trust, nobody that I can rely on except my mother, because I know she wakes up, she does the cooking and the cleaning, and that's pretty much it. Only one person, an elderly woman who gave birth to me. That's the only person that I can consider a little bit. I would say that enhances my well-being a little bit in my life. But given the circumstances, it's a little bit too little. And ultimately, I can partially blame myself. I suppose I didn't fit in well enough. I didn't go out to the didn't enter the pub scene. I didn't go drinking. I didn't find friends in school. I can find faults in my own way, but ultimately that's not going to help me anymore. So it's a warning to anybody who moves abroad: is just make sure that you know what you signed up to. Research the culture, the expectations, because a lot of people think, oh, they're going to move abroad, they're going to move to a richer country, and things are going to go, well for you. That doesn't necessarily happen. As I am a prime example of that. Nothing happened for me. My economic situation is poor. My social situation is poor. Everything that you move abroad for is, it's pretty much, yeah, it didn't happen for me. I'm just an ordinary person with a substandard existence, because I don't have anything going for me socially or economically. So it just tells you that all you need to know. And obviously, have to have people around you who don't add any value to me, any meaningful human value of care, of inspiration. There's just nothing there. Now I gotta live pretty much like a loner around people who have got problems because I can't afford to be choosy. I'm in a position here where I didn't achieve success. I didn't build a career. I didn't build positive, meaningful social connections with anybody throughout my 25 years here. So I have to accept that this is the outcome. It's the end game will probably be me dying miserably around other unsound and unwell individuals. It's just the way that life goes. Most people, every day in life you have to earn, and if you fail to do that, if you don't put it, whether it's because of lack of effort or lack of ability or a bit of both, you are gonna pretty much be at the mercy of your circumstances. And if you end up in poor circumstances where other people around you are struggling, you're most likely gonna suffer even greater consequences than if, for example, you're in a bad situation but around people who are perhaps doing better than you. But when you're in a situation where you're doing poorly and other people are equally or even in a worse state than you are, then you are just going to sink. And that's what's going to happen to me. I'm just going to sink here and accept that, you know, circumstances sometimes don't favor good people. You have to kind of have a plan in life, and sometimes you got to be ruthless to implement it. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I wanted here. I felt like a foreigner coming here 25 years ago, and I still do now. And I felt like a loner, and I feel like I have nobody to trust anymore. I'm not going to go back to Italy, obviously, because going there in a backward place where there's nothing, no investment, no agriculture. I know my life isn't going to improve, so there's no point. I'm just going to accept my fate here. This is just a word of warning to anybody who moves abroad: is to do your research and make sure that you know what the cultural and social and obviously economic circumstances are, not just for people who move there, but also for people who were born there. Is it a place that people are happy? Is it a place where people are thriving? The people are born there, because if it isn't, you're most likely not going to find many opportunities unless you have, as I said, a clear plan of action. Anyway, this is it. Thank you.